Talk 1240.
AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio. This is the Entrepreneur Hour with Bruce Krebs. Normally, you hear our buddy Confederate Mike, but I'm actually Russell, not Confederate Mike. He had a bit of a vehicular issue that maybe we'll get into, maybe we won't. Bruce, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I feel sorry for him. He stranded on the expressway in Atlanta with a frozen wheel on his car, and yeah, not good.
I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, but
Absolutely.
I might wish it on Confederate Mike though.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll be a story for years to come.
Right. I'll talk about it in the morning news tomorrow. You'll hear about that.
I'll have to listen.
So Bruce, tell me what you do.
Well, the Entrepreneur Source has been in business for 32 years, just helping our clients learn what's out there if they want to do something on their own. So, if you've been downsized, right-sized, capsized, or you're working and you're not making enough money and you want to do something part-time or semi-part-time passive, if you want to do something to earn incremental income while you keep your job, everybody wants to understand what's out there. Everybody wants a plan B. And basically what I do, Russell, is help my clients find a plan B, which is a series of conversations and meetings to understand all your criteria. What are you good at? What do you enjoy doing? What are all the things that interest you? Money you want to make, time that you want to be involved in the business, comfortable investment range. And I just give my clients a bunch of ideas and then help you learn about them. And I guess the bottom line, Russell, is I work with my clients until I find them the right opportunity. Then I help them with the best way to finance the business, including paying themselves through the startup, along with the other next steps that they've never done before, like corporate setup and getting an attorney and all that. And I work with my clients till we find the right opportunity. Then they can decide if they want to do something now in 6 months, a year, or never. But, what wakes you up in the middle of the night? What wakes you up in the middle of the night in that cold sweat is like, oh, what happens if I lose my job? Or what happens if they cut my territory, cut my commission, or whatever it happens in your life? You wake up in the middle of the night because you don't have a plan B. And so I help my clients with a plan B. That's basically what I do. And there's no cost or risk or obligation because, I don't sell anything. I couldn't sell a client a franchise or business opportunity, but I'm simply a consultant that helps them learn about them. But I'm compensated by the franchisors or the business opportunities, but we guarantee our clients in writing what we receive. You never pay in any way for any reason. So there's no cost or risk or obligation for me, just to help you learn what's out there.
So how does that work? If there's no cost, there's no risk, there's no obligation, there's always a trade somehow. If I come to you and I say, well, I need an option, and you say, well, it's free, don't worry about it. We'd like to hear that, but that can't possibly be the case. So what's going on there?
Let's put it this way. If a headhunter finds you a job, who pays the headhunter?
The franchisor, which is looking for a person who needs that job, I would assume.
Yeah, or if they find you a job in corporate America, the company pays for it.
Sure.
You as an individual never pay for that in any way. It's exactly the same situation with my help. The franchisor compensates us, but what you pay for a franchise is public knowledge. It's on their websites, you can Google it, whatever, but they give us a portion of the franchise fee to be able to find them good franchisees, because otherwise they'd have to spend a lot of money and a lot of time. And when we send someone to a franchisor, we know that the franchisor, the particular franchise, is going to fit them and their criteria. Now, whether or not they like each other or not, we don't know. But instead of a franchisor spending a tremendous amount of time and money and having hundreds of people on staff to talk to all these people, that they pay us, which actually saves them a lot of money. So if a franchise fee is $25,000 and the total cost is $50,000, that's exactly what you pay, but they compensate us, but you don't pay that in any way for any reason.
So you're just it's sort of, to put it in computer terms, it's plug and play. You just get plugged into the job and you do it. And
exactly.
There you go.
It's not like a real estate transaction where the fees are added to the cost of the house or the property you buy,
right,
or any of those, or a financial planner that puts X% when you buy an annuity or whatever it is to be. At no time do our clients pay a single dime for our services.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
It's one of those things where you think that, this has to cost me a lot of money. I go to a lot of research. I have to do a lot of things, because when I hear about a service like this one, I'm thinking, well, I have to do a lot now. This is something where now I'm obligated to do all sorts of things, and it doesn't sound like that at all with what you do.
No, one of the things, people try to do this themselves all the time. I did it when I was originally came out of the company I ran, got sold and merged, and I decided I wanted to look into franchising. I mean, I started to look, and I looked at over 50 franchises, and I didn't know who was right for me, what was right for the economy. Some were too good to be true. Some, I didn't like sign companies and cleaning companies and all the other stuff. And if you really think about it, almost all executives or actors or athletes have a coach. Right. Oprah has a coach. Tiger Woods has a coach. I'm a coach that helps people find the right franchise. That's basically what I do.
And the difference is
different kind of coach.
Right. And the difference is that the person who's being coached is not paying you tons of money. It's the person who wants that person who to be coached is paying you the money.
Exactly.
It's a very interesting setup too, because the target audience, I can tell already, is people not necessarily my age. I'm younger. I'm in my very early 20s. Your audience is mostly people who are possibly already have been employed. They've already worked in a field for a while. They have job experience, but they're wanting to get something more out of that skill. It sounds like.
Yeah, usually I always recommend that you be at least in your early 30s. Get, 8 or 10 years of corporate America experience under your belt to develop your skills and strengths. And not only what you get in school, college, any degree, but also just being in the workforce, getting experience, getting work ethic, getting structure, getting a lot of things. So I have a lot of clients in their late 20s, early 30s that say, hey, I'm making $14 an hour. This is not going to get me to where I want to be in life. I have a lot of clients that are in their, mid 30s to late 40s that, they're making $42,000 a year, or they're driving a truck, or they're working retail, or whatever it happens to be. And they look at the fact that, their wife's making $25,000, they're making $42,000, and they've got a house payment, and they have 2 kids, and they start to look at their life plan, and they look at that and they do the math like a financial planner would. What about kids' college and weddings and all the things you need, and retirement, save for retirement. Say, this isn't going to get me to where I want to be. And then you have the other dilemma of the over 50 male and female who's been downsized out of corporate America. Or, I have many clients that when they're over 55, they just can't get a job.
Right.
Or the other part of that is I have many clients where they were making 6 figures a year, and they look for 6 months or a year for a job. And what happens? They're working retail, or they're working some ridiculous job, where they're making, $15, $20 an hour just to have something to do. And they realize this is truly not going to get them to where they want to be in life, And
they're not setting themselves up for a comfy retirement at all.
No, not at all. And I mean, you really start to worry about that when I guess the easiest way to say it is almost all Americans look the fact that, through your formative years up to the point you're 50, you really don't save that much money. It's kids and college and expense and all kinds of things and weddings. And you figure, I'm going to make all this money and I don't have kids around from 50 to 65. And then corporate America whacks you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then what do you do? Because the contrary is true. Because when you're over 50, it takes a minimum of 1.2 years to find a job. Wall Street Journal came out with these numbers a few months ago. You're going to lose your job every 2.2 years and be out of work for 1.2 years between jobs.
That doesn't sound very stable at all to me somehow.
Totally unstable. But if you really look at the jobs numbers, they're really, really astounding. We have 146 million people in the workforce today. If you look at the job numbers that the government put out last month, there was 5.1 million separations. Now, what does that mean? 5.1 million people either lost their job or quit their job, and there was 5.3 million hires. That's why there was 213,000 people, new jobs being created technically.
Oh, I see.
Right? So that's the difference between 5.3 and 5.1. But if you look at 5.1 million people lost their jobs last month, that's 62 million people a year that are losing their jobs or quitting their jobs, which is 46% of our workforce. If I would say to you, every year 46% of the workforce turns over, you'd never believe it.
No, that sounds completely unrealistic. You think
but it's true.
Never happened. Not in America.
But it's true. And the other thing that's going on, I mean, just look at today. Look at the announcement today.
Sure.
Intel plans to cut 12,000 jobs.
I read that today in the tech news. Something that Intel is an establishment figure.
They're letting go 19% of their workforce.
That's crazy.
All right. And the other thing that corporate America is doing is they're letting go full-time people, and they're bringing them back as part-time or contractors or 1099. And that's what's going on all over America right now, because publicly traded companies, if you really think about what's going on out there, publicly traded companies, when they report earnings, their sales by and large have not gone up for the last 4 or 5 quarters in a row. Now, they have to make their numbers or their stock plummets.
Right.
So as a result, Netflix just announced sales didn't go up. Profits were still okay. Sales didn't go up. The stock went down 21% in 2 days.
Right.
Now, if you really look at what's going on, the fact that big companies are letting go those full-time people, because generally someone over 45, 50 years old is making more money. They'll take that $100,000 a year person, fire them, and bring in somebody your age at $30,000 a year or $35,000 a year, or somebody that's working 32 hours a week or something. So what they're doing is they're not increasing their sales, they're increasing their profits by cost cutting. And if you look at the headlines out of USA Today from yesterday, Americans still don't see a vibrant labor market. Many new jobs lack benefits, job security, or growth potential, or are just part-time or contract employees. So the problem is we created 221,000 jobs last month. Well, that seems wonderful, but nearly 100% of those jobs were in low-paying jobs, retail, home health care people that are making $9, $10 an hour, cleaning services, food services been adding about 40,000 a month. So you want to be a waiter or waitress or wait tables? There's plenty of jobs out there, right? Or work at McDonald's or whatever it happens to be. Those are the kind of jobs that are being created in the same way that we have Volkswagen and Amazon here. They don't hire anybody full time. No, they're brought through a temp agency.
I can tell you secondhand. I've known quite a few people who worked at Amazon. They always put you through a temp agency. And if you're good enough or whatever their criteria is, then they bring you on as an actual Amazon employee.
To start at $9.50 an hour.
Right.
And Volkswagen's at $12 an hour, caps out at 18. So they're, one of these, we think of an auto worker, GM auto worker or Ford or Chrysler that makes $80,000 a year as a union employee. That's no more. Volkswagen's paying $12 an hour and you're topping out at $18 an hour. And so as a result, so many of those good jobs that we used to have are not there. Financial services, as an example, added no one last month. So those are the better paying jobs.
Right. So what you're doing is you're offering a solution to help these people who are stuck in this situation where I got laid off from my job. I was working a great job, say at Intel. I was a research manager or whatever. And now I don't have anything. I was one of those huge percentage of people that got laid off.
Sure. I mean, one of my clients, as an example, is in Houston. He's 56 years old. He was in the oil and gas industry. All right.
Okay.
He was the one that went out and set up all those drilling platforms and traveled all over the world, and all of a sudden at 56 years old, they let him go. Now they let him go, but the oil and gas industry, there's been 51 bankruptcies in the oil and gas industry, and 297,000 people have got let go because of because of the whole situation with oil and gas right now. But they're going to let go of the older people first. That's just the way it is. It's unfair. Yes. Is it discriminatory? Yes. But it's what companies can do, because let's face it, everybody today under our labor laws is technically a free agent, because we're right to will, at will employees, basically, which means basically you can be fired at any time for any reason.
Right.
It used to be that you had to get 3 warnings and verbal warnings and a couple written warnings, and then you could get let go. No more. They can come in and not like the way you look, or you get a new boss or whatever. They can let you go for any reason, and you don't have any legal recourse anymore.
Yeah, no, and it's the whole generational thing too is upsetting to me, because I don't feel personally at fault because I've not been hired in that sort of situation, but I know a lot of people who have. I know a guy who works at Eastman now, and I'm sure he was hired. It's not his fault, but I'm sure he was hired because they had to lay off some of the older engineers.
Yep.
And it's just how it is, but they hired him because fresh college grad, actually he's still a college student, who is willing to be paid less than the older engineers.
We're seeing it all over. We're seeing it at every level of companies. And the fact of the matter is, publicly traded companies and Fortune 500 companies basically lay off 5% of their workforce every year.
Yeah.
Now, 90 2% of all new jobs are being created by small companies that are 100 employees or less. So I have a client that goes into business, many of them on the show, and they get into business and they start off with 1 or 2 people and then go to 5 and then go to 10. And so, you know, they've even in the franchising community, they found new ways to pay people. As an example, many times workers are getting a percentage of every job instead of being a W-2 full-time employee. Right. Now, on one hand, you know, you can make $40,000 to $60,000 a year. On the other hand, you know, if there's not work, you might not get paid. But franchisors have figured out the fact that you just don't have big sums of money that you can pay people when they're not working. So they've developed very interesting pay plans. Let's put it that way.
That's a good way to put it.
Exactly. Interesting. Or there's contractors, you know, in the handyman business and so many, the painting business, and so many different businesses you use contractors. Now, if you look at the contractor side of it, there's a tremendous amount of those kind of people that were laid off or can't find work because of the whole housing market that collapsed. All right.
Right.
And is it coming back a little? Yeah. But again, the numbers last month were the lowest in 6 months, and new home construction is down. Existing home sales are staying up pretty much, but people are staying in their homes and getting fixed up is what's really happening. You know?
And it's weird too, because I keep seeing houses being constructed. I was just out doing volunteer work, knocking on doors. Weird, I know. Yeah. And we were going all these different neighborhoods, all these different neighborhoods right here in Hickson being built. And I'm thinking, who's buying these houses? College grads can't afford to buy these houses. Are people retiring and buying these? What's going on here?
Right. I mean, there's people that are downsizing.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole point is in this county, there was about 700 new home sales a year. Now, if it falls to, a month, and if it falls to 400, it's down, but it's still 400.
Right.
All right. So I think that what we're seeing is we're not seeing these subdivisions just explode with 200 or 300 houses in like we saw back in 2008 and 2009,
right,
and through the subprime lending situations.
My gosh.
So, we're seeing people that are downsizing at the same time. You know, some of the millennials and people at the 25 to 35, they're going to buy that little starter house, or they're in an apartment or whatever, but they're going to buy a smaller house. And one of the things you've seen is the smaller houses. I mean, literally shipping containers. I mean,
yes,
they're 800 square feet.
There's a micro home movement now. It's like a statement to get a micro home.
Yeah,
it's
like
the
cool
loft.
Thing. We went through the phase of lofts that
right,
people were getting. But that's not a bad way to start.
No, not at all. I'd be very happy with a loft personally.
Exactly. So you don't need that big 2,500 square foot house on a half an acre anymore.
Not everybody needs that, especially if you're working, like you say, in corporate America. You're working as maybe an accountant. You don't need 5 acres and all this stuff. You work your job and you come home and you listen to music and you go to bed. That's what we do.
Yeah, exactly. And then, we're blessed here because you can drive 5 or 10 miles out of the city or into North Georgia 20 minutes away, and the price of a house is going to be 40% less than the greater Chattanooga area.
Oh yeah, Ringgold prices are very nice. I live in Ringgold and I work in Chattanooga, well, Hickson technically, and it's great. Housing prices are amazing. Rent is great too.
Absolutely.
Get $500 a month for a full-size house sometimes. It's great stuff.
What we're seeing here on that subject, we're seeing the amount of property, houses or nice places to rent have really dried up.
Yeah.
And the rents are escalating at a very rapid rate. All right. Simply because there is so many people that can't afford that house or don't want the house or whatever it happens to be. So, I mean, we're definitely seeing some changes in our world, and some are good, some aren't. But I guess, what we're really talking about is a change in our world because of our economy. And let's face it, our economy really isn't that good.
Right. No matter what they say.
Comes up with these numbers and it's really not that good. That's why, people ask me a question, is now the right time to go into a business? And the answer is yes. If you find something that is not affected by the economy, that has low overhead, that you get repeat business in, and the franchisor has a patented or proprietary product or service, or a strong reason to be against the competition.
Give me an example of a business that's like that.
My client here that's in Detail Experts.
Okay.
What they do is his technicians go out and wash trucks. Now, that sounds pretty silly, but trucks get washed once a month. So you see, we are a mecca of trucking companies here.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And manufacturing companies. So every truck at VW, Amazon, Shaw, BOU, Carpet Industry, anybody who manufactures anything, their trucks or oil and gas or emergency vehicles, they get washed every month. Now, if you really think about what has to happen there, the company has to pay a driver to go to a truck wash. They go to that truck wash to spend $50, $60 and wait in line. And by the time they get back, that vehicle, that 53-foot semi is down for 3 hours.
Right.
Plus the cost of paying the driver, gas insurance, and the drive-through wash, and they do a crummy job. Whereas detail experts, what they do is my client's technicians go right to that trucker's parking lot and do one truck after another. And instead of using 160 gallons to wash a semi, they use 4 gallons of water because eco-friendly steam process, patented.
Nice.
They do the outside of the vehicle and get it clean. They also do the inside, which nobody does the inside. And truckers that live in their trucks get them pretty nasty. They do the inside and literally at the same price or less. And it's steam, so it only uses 4 gallons of water. And so the truck never has to move. It can be done after hours. It can be done on a weekend when the truck isn't on the road. But if you think about the amount of UPS, FedEx, manufacturing vehicles, think about the oil and gas trucks. Look at the emergency vehicles, school buses, ambulances that need to be sanitized and deodorized.
Right. They
do all that. Now, there's nothing like that at all. But there's a case where it's repeat business every month, and there's really no competition whatsoever. So it's not affected by the economy, and it's got low overhead and repeat business. That's the kind of thing I like.
But it's the perfect franchise, basically.
Exactly.
It's perfect.
Is there a whole lot of those? No. You know?
Nothing's perfect.
No, I mean, there's 6,900 franchises in 115 industries, and there's handfuls. I mean, there's less than 25 or 30 that I really like that I would show to clients today.
Right.
Because there's so many that I don't like because they don't fit that criteria, Russell.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk more about this in just a few seconds right here on Hot News Talk Radio. This is the Entrepreneur Source with Bruce Krebs right here, Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Finding just the right place to live can be a daunting task. Stop your search. In Chattanooga, the place to live is Cross Creek Villas for under $1,000 and available for immediate move-in. You can enjoy this 2-bedroom split layout, over 1,000 square feet, 9-foot ceilings, an extra large patio or balcony. And don't forget to ask about their preferred employer program. Cross Creek Villas is a gated community offering a 24-hour fitness facility, a beautiful pool and hot tub, and Cross Creek Villas is pet friendly. Stroll the pet park with your best friend and enjoy the free use of their business center and clubhouse. Plus, if you mention you heard this on the radio, your application fee is free. Cross Creek Villas, close to downtown off of Highway 58. Go to crosscreekchattanooga.com. That's crosscreekchattanooga.com or call 894-0446. That's 894-0446. Redefine the way you live at Cross Creek Villas. Go to crosscreekchattanooga.com or call 894-0446. Cross Creek Villas.
MLS 2239. What would you do with all that cash? Listen up, y'all. Ben Phillips here. Home Rate Mortgage. 805-9100. $1,200. That's how much we just put back in a Saudi Daisy family's pocket per month. All they did was pick up the phone. 805-9100. That's 805-9100. Get that quick quote now. 805-9100. HomeRateMortgage.com. Do you want to achieve the American dream in 2016? Listen up, y'all. I'm Ben Phillips with Home Rate Mortgage, 805-9100. We just helped a police officer purchase his first home in East Brainerd. Now he's grilling and chilling on his back deck. The American dream. You could achieve it with no money down options. Why wouldn't you call? 805-9100, HomeRateMortgage.com.
Shake, shake, shake it at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. The most delicious and unique milkshakes. How about this for delicious and different? Add freshly cooked bacon to any milkshake.
Is that even legal?
You bet your milkshake and booty it is. Chocolate caramel bacon shake. Coffee caramel shake. all hand blended. Shake, shake, shake it. Down at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Just about any flavor shake that you can imagine. And they are delicious. Get your shake, shake, shake on at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Five Guys Burgers and Fries, located at Hickson at North Point, Gun Barrel at the Walmart Center, downtown 4th and Broad, and in Cleveland at Keith and Stewart.
Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake.
Cell Surgeon, an affordable quick fix for your smartphone and tablet in the Northgate Mall next to Old Chicago Pizza.
We do the best quality work. We have the best customer service and most competitive prices around.
Cell Surgeon, a painless operation to fix your sick device.
Well, if you have a cheap charger or something that's not really designed for your phone, it can mess with your battery. It can actually fry your phone. So you need to make sure you have a quality product that's going to be designed for your phone.
Cell Surgeon, your smartphone doctor is in the house at the Northgate Mall next to Old Chicago Pizza.
If you charge it in the morning and, by noon, it's at, 50% under normal use. That means your battery's pretty much dead. And once you've reached that point, it starts to deteriorate.
Cell Surgeon, call 423-668-0100 or go to cellphonerepairchattanooga.com.
We do free estimates. If your phone's not working properly, bring it in when we're happy to take a look at it and diagnose it and see what we think is wrong with it at no charge. Most phone repairs can be done in 30 minutes or less.
Cell Surgeon, an affordable quick fix for your smartphone and tablet in Northgate Mall next to Old Chicago Pizza.
Don't take it in the bathroom. Don't ever put it in your back pocket. And don't charge your phone while you're sleeping.
Cell Surgeon, an affordable quick fix for your smartphone and tablet in Northgate Mall next to Old Chicago Pizza. Call 423-668-0100 or go to cellphonerepairchattanooga.com. That's cellphonerepairchattanooga.com. Cell Surgeon, your smart device doctor is in the house.
Hi, I'm Sabrina with Sabrina Realty Associates. Now is a great time to sell your home. In our area, inventory is at an all-time low, which translates into higher sales prices. Call us today at 423-499-7780 to set up a free consultation and discuss our unique and aggressive marketing programs. We will provide you with a free market analysis to determine the right value of your home. Call us today at 423-499-7780 or visit our website at SabrinaRealty.com.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your Hot News Now update. The city of Chattanooga is rocked by a wave of violence following 10 shootings in just 4 days. The latest one happened just before midnight on Tuesday on East 3rd Street. The victim was in the backyard of his house when he heard gunshots. He decided to go back into his house. He realized he'd been shot in the hand. He's been taken to the local hospital for treatment. The suspect has been detained. Investigation is still ongoing. If you have any information about this shooting that happened on East 3rd Street, call the Chattanooga Police at 423-698-2525. The Humane Education Society in Chattanooga reported that its animal protection officers helped 61 cats and kittens, which were apparently living in deplorable conditions in a home on Maplewood Lane. This happened after neighbors complained about the sound and smell of these cats outside of the house. All of them have upper respiratory infections and are being treated by the Humane Educational Society. They're asking for the community's help to treat them. If you'd like to help, go to heschat.com. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Looking good through the afternoon with partly cloudy skies. Warm again, highs into the lower 80s. Tonight, a few more clouds, lows only to the upper 50s. For Thursday, becoming breezy. Can't rule out late showers. Still mainly dry, though highs upper 70s with scattered showers and thunder showers more likely Thursday night into Friday. Your kids can sharpen their acting skills at the Summer Musical Theater Camp at Abba's House in Hickson with camps for elementary and advanced students. To register, abbashouse.com/music camp. And I'm Smorsine 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Core. On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
When the weather turns bad, turn to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. On the net, hotnewstalkradio.com. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. From the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center. Chattanooga, we've got you covered. When the weather turns bad, the Tennessee Valley turns to Hot News Talk Radio.
Go, 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 go. You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
This is the Entrepreneur Hour on AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. I'm Russell, filling in for Confederate Mike, who had a very unfortunate traffic accident in Atlanta, by the way, on I-75. His tire locked up, so he's stuck there probably for the rest of his life. Joining me, though, and the real host of the show, is Bruce Krebs with the Entrepreneur Source. Bruce, what's going on?
Well, I think that anybody who just wants to learn what's out there should call me. And my number is 423-875-5621. Or my email is Bruce, period, E as in Edward, period, Krebs, Krebs at Comcast.net. And, whether you want to do something full-time, if you don't like your job, lost your job, can't get a job, or you're not making enough money, or if you want to do something part-time or passively, call me. I'm going to help you learn what's out there at no cost, risk, or obligation. Now, if you really think about that, there's many people that have 10, 15 hours a week. It could be a stay-at-home mom, could be someone who's selling that has an extra 10, 15 hours a week, and they'd like to make another $40,000, $50,000 a year, or whatever the number is they want to make, and do something else part-time, because their current job is just not going to be able to get them where they want to be in their life. On the other hand, I have clients that want to do something passively. I have two clients here that are very senior people at Blue Cross Blue Shield here. And that between the two of them, they had 10 hours a week. They opened something right out here about a half mile down the road from us. And they're spending between the two of them 10 hours a week and making great incremental income. And so is there many good things, Russell? No, there's not, because nothing's too good to be true.
Right.
But I can tell you that you owe it to yourself, whether you don't like your job, want to make more money, or you're working and want to make more money, or you just have a few hours a week to do something. You owe it to yourself to just learn what's out there, because I've always said you have to learn more to earn more. And that is so true, because, we sometimes we just sit back and we try to think of things that we could do. And most of the ideas we have aren't good. And let's face it, people think starting your own business. Well, wow. That's risky. And you're right. If you start your own business from scratch, you have an 82% chance of failing in 3 years. In franchising, if you eliminate food and retail, which I don't like, the service sector of franchising has a 96.2% success rate after 5 years. My clients have experienced that. Now, if you're in a business like I just explained to you before the break, in Detail Experts, you don't have any overhead. Well, you're going to keep 95 cents out of every dollar instead of giving up 95 cents out of every dollar for overhead. And occasionally there's even a good resale. There's three here in Chattanooga right now. One business making $85,000 a year, another's making $55,000, another is making a little over $50,000, and the last one is a great business that caters to the tourism trade here, and the people that own it have full-time jobs, and one of the partners moving, and so something can be done part-time. And again, those are things where people call me. I'm not a broker, but they ask me to show it to my clients that may want to do something part-time. So there's just a lot out there, but you have to, you just have to learn about it. That's the whole thing. And whether it's be full-time, part-time, or passive, you really need to understand what's out there, and I can help you learn what's out there.
And that's something that needs to be stressed too, is you don't have to quit your job to get into being involved with a franchise.
No.
Because you're talking about passive instead of just all the time.
Yeah, and the other thing is the franchisor is going to give you their business model. You're going to get their training. You're going to get their support. You're going to get their marketing programs. They're going to show you how to get your clients and customers, deliver your product and service, do the estimating, do the billing, and so forth. And that's another point that most people think, well, to own a franchise, I've got to be a great salesperson. That's the exact opposite, because only 4% of our population is what we refer to as good salespeople.
Right.
Franchisors realize that again, this is a small handful of franchisors, realize that the majority of their franchisees are not going to go out there and cold call all day long. You just said you did it. It's horrible. And there's probably 7 or 8 franchisors, Russell, that from their search engine optimization, national accounts, pay-per-click, Angie's List, and all the other one, they're going to get you a base of business that's going to make you $75,000 to $100,000 a year just from their lead generation programs. And then what you do is gravy on top of that, like doing a home show or She Expo or the expo that's going on today or whatever it happens to be. So, you don't have to be a great salesperson, but you have to have a franchise that has those kind of lead generation programs. whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, having that base of business provided by the franchisor is just paramount.
Yeah, and you're talking about systems too. That sounds really comfy for me because I don't want to have to come up with the method for running this business. Everything's set up. You do what they tell you to do. And radio is much that way too, where it doesn't sound like it. It sounds like, radio people play fast and loose, but there really is a definite system that you have to follow or you're going to fail. Every radio station is like that. I'm sure your franchises are that way too.
Yeah, and one thing that a franchisor does not want, they don't want an entrepreneur.
Free radicals. Yeah.
They don't want an entrepreneur. Because an entrepreneur will go into a franchise and then they know everything, normally a type A personality entrepreneur, and they're going to go do it their way, spend a bunch of time and extra money trying to come up with better ideas, and they're going to crash and burn.
Right.
They want someone who's going to follow the system, period. All right. And now, with that said, in the marketing side of your business, you have complete autonomy. It's your business. You own it, but you have the complete autonomy to basically do the marketing and do proactive marketing and do many other things to grow your business other than their system. Now, yes, you need their system, but you can go out and market your business in a lot of different ways. So, but again, the main thing is people just have to learn more. And anybody that just wants to meet and talk at no cost, risk, or obligation to learn what's out there, my number is 423-875-5621. I've been a franchise consultant and business coach with the Entrepreneur Source here for 14 years. And again, just helping people learn what's out there. Every client that I have had for 14 years has learned, and I've never had one client that's ever known about something before I showed it to them.
Well, that's good
once.
news. That really puts you in a good position, though, doesn't it?
Never once, exactly. People are just shocked at really what's out there. I had a client come in yesterday who was retired, and he wanted to help his daughter, who was a little over 50, get into business for herself. And she's struggling and lost jobs and didn't like what was going on. He wanted to move her back here and whatever. And he wanted some ideas of things that she would really enjoy doing. I gave him 4 different ideas of things that she'd really enjoy doing after I understood her criteria. And it's kind of like there's hope again.
Right.
It's just like for somebody that's unemployed, to give them hope that there's really something out there that they would enjoy doing every day and that can make them the kind of money they want to make, let alone in a franchise. What most people don't realize, you get a 10-year agreement and you can renew it for a couple $1,000s after 10 years, but it's your business. You can sell at any time for the equity build in that 10 years. So it isn't just that it's a franchise and you can only make so much money, but you can sell it for the equity build. I've got a client right now, one of the business for sale. He decided he wants to retire. Client of mine from 8 years ago. And, he's making 6 figures. Well,
Nice.
It's going to sell for 3 times pre-tax profits plus assets and inventory. So, he's going to sell his business for over $500,000. But, he can retire. That's what he wants to do.
Yeah, and that's such a ray of hope for a lot of people, especially in the 45, 50-year range. You're thinking, I'm worth maybe $15 an hour. I'm not going to be able to retire on this. My wife's not making much more than that. You mentioned taxes, though, and that's an interesting thing to mention. There are tax benefits to getting into what we're talking about. What are those?
Well, the only thing before we go into that, I want to one other point before we talk about taxes, and that is the biggest concern that anybody has is how am I going to get money to go into this business and finance it and pay myself through the startup, and that's really has become the easiest part of what I do, quite frankly.
Really, that sounds like the hardest to me.
It was for 12 years. It was the hardest thing to try to get my clients financing. All right, because banks are asset-based lenders; they don't loan money.
Right.
But the Small Business Administration radically changed 2 years ago, and the Small Business Administration had earmarked $30 billion to be loaned to people to go into business for themselves. But to get that money, you needed a credit score above 680. But the problem was you had to put down 25% in cash, and you had to pledge assets like home equity for the balance, like $75,000. And it was a 6 or 7 year amortization. There was prepayment penalties. It was really kind of ugly. All this money wasn't being used. So 2 years ago, they changed the program radically. Now you can get up to $150,000 on your signature, no pledge of collateral, no money down, a 10-year amortization with no prepayment penalties. So let's say that it cost you $25,000 from the franchise fee, $10,000 to start up. That's $35,000. You get $150,000. You have $15,000 sitting in your business checking account to pay yourself through the startup, and whatever you don't use, you just pay back.
So you're not completely leaping into the dark when you're getting into the franchise.
Absolutely not. You know, and so if you look at those numbers, let's say your fixed expense is $3,000 a month, pay your bills, run your household, and you find out you're going to start making money in 4 months. Well, you've got $35,000 between a franchise fee and startup. Let's call it $15,000 to pay yourself for the first 4 months. Well, now basically you got $50,000 and you got $100,000 left. Whatever you don't use in 3 months or 6 months or whatever it is, you just pay back.
There you
can
go.
also buy a vehicle. You can do whatever you want with that money.
It's your money.
It's your money, right? So that was a radical change because people can now get financing to go into business for themselves and pay themselves for the startup. And since there's no pledge of collateral, even if the worst case scenario comes and your business goes upside down, they can't come and take your house or force you into bankruptcy.
There's no pledge of collateral. That's
There's no
amazing.
pledge of collateral. Exactly.
That's awesome.
So that's just a phenomenal program that almost 90% of my clients today are using. So, but the other thing, people looking into going to business for themselves, Russell, because of the tax breaks.
Right.
And we always hear that these people that own large companies or small companies don't pay any taxes. And actually, that's true. In many cases, you can actually pay no taxes. Now, let's just say that you're working in corporate America and you're making $100,000 a year. You're going to pay about 30 of it in taxes, $30,000.
That's a lot of money.
So you got 70 left. All right. Now, when you're self-employed, you have two issues. You have your business tax and your personal tax. Well, your business is going to pay for your car, pay for your car payment, pay for your car insurance, the repairs, the gas, your cell phone, a home office, pay for your marketing, pay a lot of expenses. Your health insurance. It's going to pay for a lot of things.
These are all things you need to run your business.
Yeah, but before, when you're working in corporate America, you paid those out of after-tax dollars. All right. Now you're paying them out of pre-tax dollars. All right. So now that, let's just say that you take and you make $100,000, but then you write off your business expenses. Now maybe you're down to $75,000. Now you take your personal deductions out of there, but also when you're self-employed, you can put up to $57,500 a year into a retirement plan called a KEO or a mini K.
Okay.
So when you take that $100,000 a year, pay the things you were paying for before out of your own pocket, and you take an IRA contribution, your tax liability can be zero.
For you personally.
For you personally. But your business didn't make any money either because the profits of the business you took as a draw. You took as a paycheck. So I tell all my clients, your business will never make any money because whatever profits are there, you don't leave them there to be taxed. You pull it out in a draw or a bonus. So your business technically didn't make any money. Well, then people say, well, what happens when I go to a bank for a loan? Well, your business gives you a K1. And a K1 is really what you make before you took a draw or a bonus. And all bankers understand what a K1 is of self-employed people.
They've seen this a million times before.
Right. So instead of paying $30,000 in taxes, you pay zero or just a few $1,000s. That is a huge amount of money that's in your pocket or in your retirement account. Because, if you're 45 years old, you can put $1,500, $2,000 in an IRA. Well, all of a sudden you flip around and you can put in $57,500 a year into an IRA, a new IRA. That's a whole different world of saving taxes and building wealth and building equity. It's a whole different world to think about. But you can deduct your health insurance. You can deduct travel expenses, your car expenses. You can deduct your clothing and uniforms, retirement, as we just talked about, a home office, your taxes, but your tax preparation even. Your CPA bills you for your business and your personal, and your business pays for both. And there's so many different things that you can do. But when you figure that everything that's coming out of your pocket right now, after tax dollars, making your car, gas, maintenance on your vehicle, your insurance, let alone your cell phone and all the other things, all of a sudden, that's a lot of money that is not being paid for by you personally. And it's being taken as a tax deduction. So there's some tremendous reasons why to think about going into business for yourself. Your legal expenses, your accounting and CPA expenses get deducted. And there's a lot of other, every time you go out and buy lunch or dinner for a client or travel anywhere or go to a convention or go to a show, those are all tax deductible expenses. Now, you sit down with a CPA and they go through that item by item, personally and business wise, and there's a whole lot of other deductions you can take. But the point is, you are going to put in your pocket a lot more money if you're self-employed. So, the main thing is you have to learn what's out there, and whether it be full-time, part-time, or passively, and then sit down with a good CPA, understand all the tax breaks, sit down with an attorney who can help you set up your corporation and review your agreements. And basically, people are scared, like, well, I didn't go to college, or I don't have a degree, or I don't have this. You're going to get a PhD in franchising from that franchisor. And there's another myth and misconception that it is basically, I'm going to go through training and then I'm on my own. People are scared to death of that.
Yeah.
Here again, just like the marketing piece of it, there's a new breed of franchisor out there, because they know they can't just put you through a week or 10 days of training and then Monday morning you don't know what to do, or you're paralyzed, or you get call of reluctance, or whatever it happens to be. So the new breed of franchisor, you go through training, which is classroom and field training, but then on Monday morning, they send one of their field trainers in to go out and make calls with you, to start getting business right away, to make presentations, to put together your marketing plan. If you need an employee or two, run the ads, do the background check, drug screens, hire them, go out on jobs with them right away. And think about going out on jobs in your first week or two and getting business immediately. But having someone to hold your hand on how to do all that, then they'll come back in another month, and they'll come back in a third month, and they also assign you a coach.
Oh.
So every morning, Russell, what did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? And they give you the metrics of your business. In other words, basically, if you want to make $100,000 a year, how many appointments, how many presentations, how many jobs do you have to do every day? And then they're helping you monitor and measure that every day, every week, and every month. So, they're helping you through the whole process, because they understand exactly what needs to be done for your business. So there's a whole new breed of franchisor out there that wants to help their franchisees get up and running and making money quickly. And that's been a dramatic change in the past couple of years.
These are people who genuinely want you to succeed. It's their job to make you succeed.
Well, if you really think about it, they have to.
Yeah, that's true.
They have to for two reasons. When you're in a franchise, you pay royalties.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
I was actually going to bring that up. I'm glad you did.
If they don't help you get up and running and making money, and a lot of money, they don't make any money. The second thing that happens, when you're in a franchise, you're going to get calls from other prospective franchisees called a validation call. All right. So I own a franchise. I'll get a validation call. People that want to buy an Entrepreneur Source franchise will call me and say, well, hey, how did you get your clients and customers? What were your biggest surprises? What's a day in your life? How much money did you make? How fast? What was your gross first year and second year? On and on and on. I ask you a lot of questions. Well, if you're not making money and you take one of those calls, the franchisor knows that who's ever calling is not going to go forward to their business. So it's really a win-win scenario, because the more money you make, the more money the franchisor makes. But I like paying royalties for a couple reasons. One is, if I'm making money, I'll pay the royalties. But at the same time, a franchisor, in my opinion, deserves those royalties. They're going to keep up with the marketing programs, the search engine optimization, the Angie's List, the pay-per-click. They're going to update their products and services. They're going to add new products and services to stay ahead of the competition. And they got software, estimating software, billing, whatever. They have to keep up with all that. If you have to try to do that on your own, if you started a business from scratch, you can't do it.
Right.
It's horribly hard to do. And I'd much rather pay somebody 6 or 7% to do that rather than me have to worry about it. I mean, look at the fast food industry. Who would have ever thought that Hardee's major income stream would be breakfast?
No one would consider that
a few years ago.
Right.
Or who at Taco Bell that we'd be eating breakfast.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different things out there that we would have never thought about before. The franchisor has thought about those things. Right. And even in the days of McDonald's or Burger King, they didn't serve breakfast.
Right.
And now it is over 50% of their income. So it's just, those are the kind of things you have to think about. You can run your business and go out there and make money and grow your business without worrying about that kind of thing. And most people just forget about that. But, anybody that wants to talk to me, to come in for a free assessment, my number is 423-875-5621. And my email is Bruce, E as in Edward, Krebs, Krebs, @Comcast.net. And the website is theentrepreneursource.com. But if you go onto that website to find me, it's theesource.com/B as in Bruce Krebs, Krebs.
I can make it even easier for you. I found your website by Googling your name, Bruce Krebs.
Right.
So there you go. Well, thanks, Bruce, for joining me. This is Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. Thank you, Bruce.
Russell, thank you.
Looking good through the afternoon with partly cloudy skies. Warm again, highs into the lower 80s tonight. A few more clouds, lows only to the upper 50s. For Thursday, becoming breezy. Can't rule out late showers. Still mainly dry, though highs upper 70s with scattered showers and thunder showers more likely Thursday night into Friday. Your kids can sharpen their acting skills at the Summer Musical Theater Camp at Abba's House in Hickson with camps for elementary and advanced students. To register, abbashouse.com/music camp. And I'm 1412 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Moore. On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.